Hello and welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about the litter ripple effect.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about the litter ripple effect. So just last week I talked about littering and what are to litter or not to litter. What are we teaching our kids through our actions? And I'll be transparent here. I'm not the guy who likes to ask for a lot of help, and we are all traumatized or have some baggage from when we were children. And one of the challenges that I personally have is when I had asked for help as a child, or thought if I had asked for help that I would be disappointed. So I don't ask for a lot of help. That's kind of why I roll up my sleeves and just do things, get things done myself. So, having said that, the family goes out and we do what we can within our power to make our community better. Whether it's helping out at the school, whether it is making sandwiches for the homeless, whether it is donating money to the community or charities of our choice, we do what we can. And sometimes I forget there's a whole lot of other people who want to help also. So my wife, and we didn't have the ability, I don't have a truck. I didn't want to put garbage in my car, as I believe I said in last week's episode. We cleaned up, for those who didn't listen to last week's episode, we cleaned up a quarter, maybe half mile area next to our home that is close to some train tracks where people tend to litter. We found out this week that the reason this area or this road has not been cleaned up because it's part of Adopt a Mile, or Adopt a Street, or Adopt something for somebody else to clean it up. And the gentleman who adopted this many years ago is elderly at this point, and for whatever reason hasn't been able to get out, whether it's COVID and he has some underlying conditions, he just has ailments, he's just old and it's not his thing anymore. Whatever it may be, we found out it's part of Adopt a Mile. Why? Because we weren't able to pick up the trash bags, as there were many of them, and dispose of them. I didn't have anywhere to dispose them unless I brought them to a dumpster, which is technically illegal because there was so much garbage. So we left them on the side of the road. We contacted the city and asked the city to pick that up. This particular road happens to be on one side, and only a small portion of it, part of the city, and the other side and a larger portion of the first side is the county. And you know how that works. Nobody wants to claim anything, but we were informed that it's part of this Adopt a Mile. So here's where the beauty of this comes in. We did our part. We only thought we were doing a small part because of, I don't want to say inability. I mean, we could have taken the trash, but our thought was, we're willing to pick up the trash and assist the city and make our city more beautiful. The least they could do is pick up the bags and dispose of them. So we reached out for assistance, and if I had had a truck, I probably would have just taken care of it. But because of that, we reached out to a website also called nextdoor.com, and if you're unfamiliar with that, it's for people in your neighborhood. You get neighborhoods together to assist each other. So people have a lost dog. Instead of putting signs all over the city, or in addition to putting signs all over the city, you go on Nextdoor and say, hey, I've lost my dog. Has anybody seen it? I've seen dogs found. I've seen the community really support small businesses and say, hey, there's a new business opening up and it's fantastic. I've seen all kinds of great things. So my wife happened to post some pictures of the garbage and said, my family and I cleaned up this particular road. Does anybody know who to contact to get it cleaned up? Somebody on there informed us it was a part of Adopt a Mile. Then a number of people said that they saw us out there that day and thanked us for cleaning up the space and keeping our city beautiful. And then somebody said, well, let's create, through Adopt a Mile, an organized cleanup, because my wife did express, although we did a lot, there was still a lot to do. So on October 31st at 9 a.m., we have an organized thing through the city. The city, through the Adopt a Mile program, all new information to me, so probably new information to you, provides the gloves to clean things up, provides pickers, right, things to pick up the trash with, so you don't have to necessarily use your hands. They provide the bags for the cleanup, and I'm assuming this wasn't part of the information that my wife shared with me, but they're gonna provide the truck, right, to haul some of the stuff away. So the ripple effect, I've talked about it before. I love the ripple effect. It's like, what are you doing that affects so many other things? And you never know what you're doing that's going to impact other people. I can't tell you how many people on that post that my wife put on Nextdoor literally said, I saw your family out there picking up, thank you. It wasn't one or two, it was many. And then a number of people saying, wow, I saw the bags out there and wondered who did it. Thank you for doing it. So people are in tune. People pay attention. And sometimes it just takes a little spark to create a fire. And because of our little spark, our little family spark, we're now making it a community event. And I haven't shared this with my wife, but because that man, and hopefully we'll be able to find him before October 31st and just invite him out to see what he started, and that somebody else is picking up and continuing what he started, because I'm sure it meant enough for him to do something about it. But I think the right thing to do, because my kids have been picking up this street anyway for a number of years, not to the extent we're going to do now, that we just re-adopt the mile and we take ownership of it, and we create the community outreach so that this space is maintained moving forward until somebody else comes along when we're done with it and they do their part. And it's all because we care. It's all because I'm trying to teach my children to honor and respect the spaces they're in. And it didn't take a lot of energy, right? We went out there for an hour or two. We go out there for an hour or two every couple months. But the outreach of, can the city pick this up? And if not, who can we contact? And all of this has come from it. Set things in motion in your life. And if you're open to it, listen, if you're open to it, once we became open to it and asked for help, a tremendous amount of assistance is now coming. People want to help. Sometimes we need leaders in the community, like yourself. Yes, I'm talking to you. Who organize the things so that those who are followers, and there's nothing wrong with followers. In order for there to be leaders, we need some followers. I'm a follower in a lot of areas of my life, and I also lead in a number of areas of my life. We need some leaders to allow the followers to do their work. We'll see you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.